What's up, guys? How we doing today? Hopefully, we're all doing fantastic. So, it's been brought to my attention that I'm unstable and I need to pick a side. I'm either conservative or I'm liberal. That's what we're going to talk about today. This one's going to be fun. Might have some feathers rustled, but it is what it is. Be right back. Stay tuned. Okay, so I don't remember what the comment was, but he was something like, "Man, I tried watching you, and I just don't understand where you're at. He's like, you've got to either be conservative or liberal. Pick a side." Do I really need to pick a side? I mean, if I pick a side, I'm obviously on the conservative side. If you've seen many of my videos, you clearly know that. But the difference is, maybe I lean a little bit more on the independent side, which is kind of a fence riding, where you kind of believe both, and I like to get both sides of the story before I come to any kind of conclusions, because whether you believe it or not, truth comes from both sides. There's some truth on both sides. Conservatives, I fit more on the conservative side. They fit a little bit more of what I believe, my core beliefs, but it's a good idea to always get the other side of the story as well. That way you're at least know what the other side has to offer, because like I said, there's truth on both sides. There's false on both sides. Unfortunately, it's one lousy bird, and you've got two different wings, and they're both different wings on the same bird, and it's like, I mean, because there's horrible conservatives out there. There's horrible Republicans out there. There's horrible liberals. There's horrible Democrats. You may, like I said, you may disagree with me on this, but there's good and bad on both sides. It's like that big Ford Chevy Dodge, which is better? You know what? I've owned all three of them. I'm a mechanic for a living, and I've worked on all three of them. Guess what? They're all good. Guess what else? They all suck. They all have their problems. They all have their advantages. They all have things that, man, this is way better on a Dodge than on a Chevy. But Chevys are better at some things. Fords are better. They all have their advantages, and they all have their disadvantages. Excuse me. So it's like, why do I have to pick one? I mean, I have my preference. I have my side I lean a little bit more to, but does that mean I have to be that and only that? Does that mean I have to be, since I like Chevy, I have to hate Ford, I have to hate Dodge, I have to hate Toyota, I have to hate all that? No. And I have friends on both sides. I have friends I have liberal friends, I have conservative friends, and some of it, and we have conversations. We don't typically get too into politics because it can get a little heated, but that's when we say, all right, that's enough. We're done talking politics. And we accept it. So I mean, why pick a side? And on and Trump, yes, I support Trump. I voted for him 3 times, but I'm also kind of critical over what he's doing, because I'm a kind of person to where less talk, more action. Let's quit talking about it and let's start doing something about it. All this talk about, he's been, day one I'm going to do this, and day one I'm going to do that. And has it happened? Most of it, no. But some of it, maybe. Some of it may have happened, but most of it, no, it hasn't happened. And I know he's got Congress to fight with, and he's got these rogue judges that are battling him every step of the way, because they'd rather see the nation crumble than have it succeed, just for the sake of Trump's doing it. So I get that too, but all this stuff about the Epstein files and The only thing he's really done a good job of so up to now is securing the border. Everything else has been all talk. Everything else has been all talk, just like the last multiple decades. Even the liberals. You've seen Obama say it. You've seen both Clinton say it. You've seen Biden say it. You've heard Schumer and Pelosi and all them talk about it, and they talk about we need to secure our borders. We need to this. We need to that. We need to, and they've even been talking about tariffs. Well, tariffs. We need to have reciprocal tariffs. We need to have, but yet when Trump comes along and says something, almost exactly word for word, and starts kind of doing something about it, all of a sudden he's the devil himself, and they're getting standing ovations for saying it. But yet they don't do anything about it either. They've been all talk and all, but it's like, when do we jump ship here? When they say it, it's a good idea, great idea. Everybody supports it. Everybody loves them. Everybody. But when Trump comes in and says the exact same thing, all of a sudden he's the devil, and that's what I don't get. And so I see it that way. But I mean, but they also have good. Not everything is false. I don't believe everything that Trump says. That take the guns now and due process later. That was kind of an issue. The bump stock thing. That's those are anti 2A, and and due process later. That's right there is anti-constitution. So it's like, why? I don't believe everything he says. And for those that say that we should due process these illegals that came in that are violent criminals that the Democrats want to keep in our country, see, I'm a little on the fence on that one too. Yeah, I do believe in due process, but they didn't get due process when they come in. They came in the wrong way. I mean, they just need to go out, especially the murderers and the human traffickers, the child traffickers. Those ones need to immediately go. Why should we due process those guys? Why should our tax money go to courts and processing those guys, the ones that snuck in, committed violent crimes, and now you want to due process them? They're not citizens. But I don't know where I'm trying to go with this, but I've been told to pick a side. Well, the side I'm picking is the side of truth, regardless what side it comes from. If it's truth, I'm there, and whatever you decide is truth. Some people may say that the liberals are, everything that comes out of their mouth is fake, is false. Well, maybe most of it, maybe a vast majority of it. Same with the conservatives, and they're all brainwashed. It's just one's brainwashed to this side and one's brainwashed to this side. Why can't you get your own information? Why can't you do research from both sides and decipher for yourself what's true and what's not true? That's kind of called independent. You can have your own beliefs. You can believe some of this and some of that, and still, if I have to pick, if I'm forced to pick a side, then I pick the side of truth, whatever side that comes from. And I know, like I said, this might cause a little bit of hate, but it is what it is. I'm not gonna just have to just pick one thing and call it good just because somebody told me that, oh, you got to pick a side. I have a hard time understanding what side you're on. It's pretty obvious what side I'm on. I mean, I've made it pretty clear what side I'm on. I mean, but I do also make it clear that I get both sides of the story. Especially if you're going to be debate. You think these good debaters like Ben Shapiro and Charlie Cook, I think his name is, but you think these big debaters, these big time debaters only know one side of the story? I'm sure they've studied up on both sides. I'm sure they do a lot of reading, and I'm sure they do a lot of studying, and I'm sure they do both sides of the story. I'm sure they have all the numbers, they have all the data. You think they just focus on what what their argument is. Oh, get both sides of the story. And I've heard, I've heard them both say something that maybe I don't agree with, and I've heard some things that kind of agree with the other side a little bit to some degree, and so it is what it is. Why can't we just decipher for ourselves what we believe, and then when we go to pick who we want to represent us, we base it on who's the closest fit for that or the best fit for that. And so far, like I said, Trump is. I mean, yeah, I know it's only been 100 days, but when he says day one, don't say it if you don't mean it. Let your yes be yes and your no be no. Do what you say you're gonna do. If you're gonna do stuff day one, do stuff day one. And he did a lot on day one. He did a lot of executive orders, and I know that again. I know that some of this has to go through the process, through Congress and through Senate and there are some rhinos out there, and that's what I don't want to be. I don't call me a rhino all you want to, whatever, if that's what you think I am. But there's a bunch of like rhinos out there that are going to push back every single thing that Trump does, regardless, and they call themselves Republicans. But so he doesn't even have all the Republican support, and yeah, they have the majority in the House and the Senate, but he doesn't have full support of even his own side. And that's a lot why he can't get some stuff done. But even Pam Bondi, I've got those Epstein files on my desk right now, and they're disgusting. They're horrible. And then when they do release it, it's just a bunch of black marked out pages. She's doing a horrible job too. And that was one of Trump's picks, and Trump's been touting her. And I've heard a lot of people, oh no, she's great. She's doing a wonderful job. No, really. Not so far. There hasn't been any that we know of, really, hardly any arrests. I mean, maybe there's some that y'all have heard of, but I haven't really heard of any arrests of what, all the fraud that's been going on from that Elon Musk has been finding. No one's names are coming out. No one's names are on those lists. And maybe the reason why they haven't come out is in full force, those Epstein files, and maybe Trump's name's on it, and maybe he's like, "Oh, we can't. We'll say we will, but we're not gonna." And like I said, I'm not fully agree with everything that Trump's doing. I believe in what he says he's gonna do, but if you're not gonna do it, you're gonna lose a lot of support. So, and I'm not allowing him to just say something and all of a sudden I believe. I'm. Whatever. Take that as you will. I get both sides of the story, and then I just decide what I want to believe. If I'm a rhino, then whatever, I'm a rhino. But I consider myself I'm a little bit more right leaning independent than anything. But it's all they government is government. They lie all the time, both sides. I mean, look at some of these rhino guys. Look at, what's his name? Mitch McConnell. He's just as bad as any of them. I mean, he's just as bad as any, as far as like the corruption and the insider trading and the, it's on both sides. These guys, they'll argue tooth and nail while the cameras are on, and but once you turn those cameras off, they're going to dinner, they're having lunch, they're going to the same party, they're like best friends. So it's like it's all the same regardless what side you're on. You don't need to have a side. Have a side against freedom. Pick a side against the side I pick, the side I'm on is the side of freedom, the side of truth, the side of the Second Amendment, the side of the First Amendment, that's the side I'm on. And I don't care what you are. I don't care what side you claim to be on. If you try to infringe any of those, I'm gonna fight against you. I don't care if you're conservative. I don't care if you're liberal. I don't care if you're Republican, Democrat, black, white. man, woman, I don't care. If you're going to try and fight against that, against my rights and against my beliefs, what I believe is true, what I believe I'm on, then I'm going to fight you tooth and nail on it. I mean, I will. I'm not necessarily saying fight, this kind of, but I will, if it whatever it takes to fight against that. That's the side I'm on. I don't care if you're, like I said, I don't care if you're conservative, because there's some conservatives out there that are bad, that aren't. And it's like the gun control thing, like I talked about before. It's, if we had common sense gun ownership, we wouldn't necessarily, the left wouldn't have the need. They would still try it, obviously, because we know what their intentions are, but they wouldn't have a need for common sense gun laws, common sense gun control. If we just have common sense, period. Maybe that's the side I'm on. Common sense. Have common sense. It doesn't, a lot of both sides are brainwashed and they don't have common sense. They just believe what they're told. They just believe what they're told to believe. And it goes and that comes from the right, that comes from the left. So there's no right or wrong. No, there is right or wrong, but there's no right side or wrong side. There's no side to pick. The side to pick is the side of truth and freedom and happiness. So anyway, starting to ramble. I just wanted to come on and do a little rant that, apparently somebody thinks I need to pick a side. And again, like I said, I'm not. If I pick a side, if I had to pick a side, I'm required to. It's the law that I have to be either right or left. Well, I pick right, but I'm not. Again, I'm not just totally to the right. That's why there's a third party that's come out. That's why the independent party has come out, because they're sick and tired of both sides. I'm sick and tired of both sides. They're all talk, no action. They all battle against each other. They won't let Trump do anything. Both sides. Some will, but some won't. None of the Democrats will. Not a single one. And there's a few Republicans that won't either. So why should I pick a side that, can't even support their own side? If I was going to go that route, then obviously the left, because they're all, well, not recently, they're all kind of falling apart, but the left usually sticks together. The right is so divided that, it seems like everything the left says, the left votes accordingly, and they do, but the right, you've got these the right wingers vote this way, these left right wingers. So it's like, why? They can't even pick a side. They call themselves something, but they can't even pick a side. The ones that are actually in office can't even pick a side. So why should I have to pick a side? Like I said, my side is the side of freedom, the side of truth, the side of keep your nose out of my business, the side of less taxes, the side of, let me keep more of my money, stay out of my business, keep me safe, as best you can, and as well as allow me to keep myself safe. That's the side I'm on. If I have to pick a side, there you go. That's my side. Anyway, sorry for the little rant. Appreciate y'all sticking around and hanging out, and if you did watch to the end, do the YouTube stuff. Appreciate all of you. Even comments like that, it kind of gives me, gets me thinking again. Like, hey, maybe I, what is there to something to talk about or whatever is, because I take comments like that, to heart sometimes. I'm not like mad at the guy. He didn't sound like he was being rude. He just was, I tried watching you and I wanted to leave a good comment. I wanted to leave a comment. So I guess, you're just hard to understand because, and maybe I am hard to understand. I don't think so, but I think I'm pretty straightforward, but I like I said, I like to make you think, kind of give you some ideas of both sides of basically every argument. Even I did one a while back of carrying with around in the chamber, the goods and the bads about both. There's pros and cons about I like to do the pros and the cons of both sides of the argument, both sides, because there is pros and cons to both sides. And all right, there I go again. Anyway, appreciate y'all. Do the YouTube stuff. There's some links down below if you feel like supporting the channel or some of my other channels. I've got a couple others that I'm going. There'll be links down below. I'm kind of funneling my repair, DIY repair type videos. I'm trying to funnel those into a new channel, as well as I do football talk with my kid. Football. I am into football, so I do a little football talk channel with one of my kids. So if you're into that sort of thing and you're interested, the links will be down below for those, and whatever other links if you feel like supporting. If not, just hit the like, the subscribe, leave a comment, leave me "I'm an idiot" comment. I don't care, whatever. Just just do the YouTube stuff. Appreciate you. Love y'all. Even the haters, love you. May not like you, but I love you. Either way, anyway, appreciate you, love you. See you in the next one.